guys, in this video we're going to be sketching the human skull, and these are the basic elements that I like to use, and I hope that it will help you out too to remember when you're sketching the skull. So this is my method, and I like to use guidelines and to help me divide a section of a block, and then use other shapes like ovals and triangles, horizontal and vertical lines, and these are the basic tools that help me get like the right symmetry, so my elements are in the right place, the proportions, the sizes are correct, and I can also edit and change and fix things. So let's begin. So we have the skull, and it's contained inside a box. So what you want to start out with is draw a rectangle. So I already had a drawing here earlier that I gently erased, so I can go a little bit quicker in this video. But essentially you want to begin with a box, and then you want to begin with an oval shape. And having this oval shape inside it definitely helps the top section to be sketched out, and the bottom area where things are going to fall in place. Go ahead and divide your rectangle in half, vertically and also horizontally. And I've already lined up my sketch with the sample. So the next step is we want to get the nose, because the horizontal guideline that divides it in half lines up right to the top of that. So that's good that we have that on here, and all we need to do is sketch out a triangle shape. Leave a little gap, a section on top of the nose, so it's a triangle. Without the tip, it's a straight line. Next, we're going to draw some circles for the eyes. Keep these lines close to here, to the top section of your nose shape. And use light strokes for your sketch lines, because later on we're going to erase and then draw new lines. So between halfway from the nose to the bottom of the jaw, we're going to draw or divide it in half. So we're dividing it from here to here, and this is the halfway point. And at the halfway point, create a little smile, and then on top of that create another one, but this one doesn't have so much of a curve. This one has more of a curve, and then the bottom one is going to have the most curve. And that's because we're actually looking at the skull at an angle, so we're looking at it eye to eye, and things down here tend to get lower, and they tend to have a curved shape. Okay, next thing we want to do is let's go ahead and create our cheekbone area. And let me see, we want to get this line. This line is about halfway between here and here, the outside of your box. So between here and here, create a guideline. So this is where your teeth are going to end, And also along the bottom of the nose, create another guideline. And we're going to sketch out the cheekbone. So on the edge, we're going to draw like a little arrow going this way, and on this one, a little arrow shape going that way. And along the eye sockets, we're going to draw this line, which is around your temple area. So we're just going to draw straight lines this way, but we want to kind of like curve it. Let's redo these. We want to start here, and then you want to kind of go in a little, and then you want to go up a little bit. Now let's curve in the sides of the skull. So they're going to curve in into this corner area of your cheekbone. So let's complete this cheekbone guideline, and we're going to curve the side of our skull. Okay, so we have our cheekbone lines. Let's go ahead and create this curvy area on the bottom of our cheekbone. So we're going to hook it like this. Leave a little gap between here and here. And just go ahead and pause the video if you need to pause it at any time. Let's go ahead and draw in our jawbone. And all we need to do is essentially just kind of create like a little triangle shape here. And then let's draw the outside of our jawbone. And we're going to stop around the midpoint where we have the first guideline here. See, this is why guidelines are so helpful. Now from here, we're going to angle it in to create the chin. And because we're looking at an angle, this section is lower from us. That's why we have this angled jawbone happening, and why the smile or the teeth are curved this way. Because the higher you go up in the skull, your lines start getting more horizontal, and our midsection is right here, or this is your horizon. And a very important concept in drawing, you need to know where your horizon line is, and everything below the horizon is going to have perspective. But that's a different lesson. Now, to make the eye sockets look cool, we need to make them in the shape of sunglasses, more like aviator sunglasses. So we're going to curve the upper eyebrow area like this, bring them in a little bit in the center. We're going to draw in like arrows pointing in where we did the arrows pointing out on the cheekbone. The arrows on the eye sockets point in a little bit, and we're going to slope the bottom part of the eye socket and round out the outer part. try to make your eye sockets look a little blocky. It just makes them more interesting instead of just them being round. And if you want to, I'm going to go ahead and erase the eyebrows. The eyebrow area, bone area, and drop it a little bit. And let's draw the shapes of the nose cavity, or the nasal bone area. We're just going to curve the area where, where the nostrils would be. And then we're going to point, or create a little point right here in the middle, bottom part of the nasal cavity. And we're just going to finish off the shape of this bone. It doesn't need to be perfect. It can be off a little bit. It's a bone, so that should be okay. Now let's create our teeth. We wanted to create a darker middle vertical line, and we're going to draw 1, 2, 3 more on each side. Okay. And we have a smaller space in here, but we're going to draw 2 more lines. Now let's draw a little curves on top of the upper row. Kind of like a little fence with round tops, and the same for the bottom. We're just drawing kind of like angled ovals, or like the letter U. Now this line's a little bit too low. Let's raise it up a little bit. And as you can see, we already have like a little shadow here, which is fine. I'm going to raise these guys. Just seem a little bit too low. So let's see what's going on here. And at this point, we can start darkening a lot of our actual drawing lines and keeping the guidelines light. I'm just taking a look at this skull and trying to replicate what I see. Another good point about using these guidelines to get your skull started, once you have these in place, it's a lot easier to look at a reference of a skull and draw that out. So having a basic understanding of where to place things will help you get a better looking skull. So I'm making my lines kind of organic and curvy, not so straight, because bone isn't really straight. It's got some bends and curves in it. especially the bottom jawline. Add a little bump here. So I'm making this one a little bit different from this one, which is fine. Okay, so now that we have our basic structure here, I'm going to go ahead and shade it, and I'll create a sped up time lapse of the next section here. Let me adjust my camera angle. So all I'm going to do is darken these guys, these sections. I'm going to create the eyebrow ridges the same way I see here, and add little details later on. I'm using a mechanical pencil, which is a 0.7 size, so it helps me with details, because this skull is about, it's not a full-size sheet of paper, it's small. I also like using this type of pencil, which I find works really well for sketching. It's a Ticonderoga. You can get these online. The tips don't break as much, so I like that about this pencil. And the eraser is it's got a black eraser, but it doesn't smear. So when I erase with this pencil, it leaves a nice clean erased area, whereas other erasers, like the pink ones, will just smear, for some reason, the lead all over the place. But this one is really great for erasing. So I'm going to erase my guidelines and begin shading. And I'm also going to speed up the video for you guys. Okay, so there you have it. How to sketch a skull with guidelines and basic shapes. From here you can do any kind of skull design you want, but as long as you have the basic foundations of where the different parts of the skull goes, elements like the eye socket, the nose, the jawbone, how to set the teeth in place, the lower jaw, the cheekbones, the cracks in the skull, and in this case these are actually sutures which join different bones of the skull together. So really quickly you have your frontal area, your parietal bones on the sides and back, your temporal bones on your temple area. The cheekbone is called the zygomatic, and your mandible, which is your lower jaw, and the maxilla is the upper jaw and part of your nasal area. Basic terms to just kind of like get familiar with when drawing your skulls. What I also like to call them by their common names: cheekbone, chin bone, and stuff like that. So from here, if you wanted to do, for example, a pirate skull, you can make it so like you have the swords kind of crisscrossing this way, or you can put them down here. Instead of swords, you can make them bone. So you have different possibilities. I'm just going to lightly sketch a sword. I'm not going to finish it, I'm just kind of giving you a quick sample. And that's the kind of stuff that you can do. So hopefully you guys can create some really cool stuff. Let me know in the comments section if you need help with any part of this tutorial on drawing the skull, and also if you would like to see more tutorials coming out. Let me know what you want to draw. I do plan on drawing some exotic animals, which is really cool to draw. Some more flowers, which are always popular, and they all have great shading and texture and lighting, so those will be great things to draw. So don't forget to subscribe to the channel. If you do subscribe, hit that notification bell so you can be alerted to a new video when I post them. And everyone have a great day. See you soon.